Hey Taurus, welcome to your monthly reading. So we are doing the reading for September 2023. This is your tarot reading and it is a collective reading for, why are these sticking? It's a collective reading for Taurus, sun or rising signs. That's what we're looking at. So we're going to pull a card to get a vibe for the entire month, what the overall driving theme is, and apparently it's all about you. I'm going to also take a look at, these are more extended readings, so I do have videos that just came out for the bi-weeklies. So it was the full blue moon that happened on August 30th to the new moon, which is happening on September 14th, day before Venus or Mercury comes direct. So that's the period of time that I just filmed those other readings for. And those are small readings, maybe like 5-6 minutes. These readings are more extensive. We're looking at the beginning, middle, end of the month and any kinds of challenges that are going to feel more prominent for you, like a common thread. And then also going to take a look at what kind of spiritual advice is coming up. So also the astrological highlights video is going to, I think, take a little bit of time to come out. Interesting. So the astrological highlights video, normally I try to have that out on like the 1st or the 15th of each month. However, for those of you who don't know, who haven't been maybe following me for long or don't follow me on social media, my dad was lost in the Lahaina fires and we couldn't find him for days, and then we did, and it's just been a whole ordeal. So it set me back. I'm definitely behind and trying to catch up just with like work in general and readings and things, and so I may not get things out in time. It might take me until October to really like be back on track with like getting things out in time. So anyway, thank you for your understanding with that. Let's take a look at what is the context within which we are looking at your particular reading. And we can focus this through looking at the house that is more prominent that's showing up in this reading. Now, keep in mind, this is a collective reading for sun or rising signs. If you don't feel like this particular reading is feeling super resonant for you and you're like, I don't know if that's my message, totally good. Go check out your rising sign if this is your sun sign. Always, 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 I'm going to say the best, clearest, most specific reading is going to, of course, come from one-to-one readings. However, I do watch collective readings myself, so I just want to presence that. So what are we looking at for you, Taurus? We are looking at the first house. It is all about you. It's about your body. It's about your aesthetics. It's about how you show up in the world. It's about how you're navigating the world. This is the only house out of 12 houses in your entire chart that is all about you, and not in a selfish way. Just it's about you. It's about your identity. It's about the way that you navigate the world, the way that you want to navigate the world, the way that you feel called to navigate the world. And explore the world, and also about your body and also about your identity. So that's what we have showing up, and like we're going to like take that and superimpose it on this reading and say like, okay, how can we apply this to like through this particular lens, right? So that's what we're looking at. Forgive my lighting. I forget sometimes that like at this time of day, the lighting for this particular deck is a little bit, So what do we have going on for the beginning, middle, and end of the month? We have the 3 of Pentacles, the Page of Wands, and the World card. We'll get to this. I know that nobody's really liking this particular card right now. Don't worry. I have an explanation for that I think is going to make that feel like less scary. So when we look at the beginning of the month, the beginning third of the month is about the the 3 of Pentacles. So there's definitely about like, it's interesting because right now where the lunar nodes are, and I'm not going to get super into astrology, but where the lunar nodes are, we have them in Aries and Libra, right? So there's the self and the other, right? And so there is like the other, working with others in terms of like what we're building and contracts and collaboration. And we could say that it's the 11th house, but we could also look at that as the axis between the first house and 7th house. Not to get too astrology ridden in this for those of you who are like, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. Essentially, just seeing the contrast between what is up for you and your self, your values, your way of navigating the world being a focus right now during the month of September still, and also you doing some evaluating and collaboration with other people, maybe signing contracts, maybe just working with others, but there is this like vibe of you working together with others to create something that is bigger than, you know, what you would create maybe on your own. And then we move into the center of the month, the middle third of the month, and we have the Page of Wands. And so all of the pages are really, I would say, inquisitive and curious in their own right. However, there are 4 different elements that show up in the tarot deck. And so the way that their curiosity and adventurousness gets explored and is manifest is through these different elements of earth, air, fire, and water. And this is fire. And so what we're looking at here is like there is this desire to be like in touch with the things that make you light up in life, the things that make you feel inspired, creative, passionate. Maybe part of that is travel for some of you. That would be something that would really make sense here. But essentially wanting to pursue understanding, exploring, expanding your understanding of the world through different things that you feel passionate about. And that's what this particular card is about. I really love this. Like, this is, you know, like, honestly, after the last, let's just say that it's a good thing you're not Aries Sun or Rising, because that was a little bit difficult. This is a very nice reading. So we have the last third of the month, and it is the World card. And this is the ending of a particular cycle. It's the last card in the major arcana, right? Like, this is going from the Fool all the way through. Like, the Fool starts at the beginning and goes through, you know, ups and downs, right? Like perilous times and also like really triumphant experiences and everything in between, to have such a rich experience. And they learn a lot along the way. They're never the same on the other side. There's a lot of esoteric meaning in the card itself, but I can just like, let's point to the fact that they are somebody who is integrating or integrated. And so you come to the end of a cycle and it's almost like, let me integrate the lessons that I've learned from the time that I've been in. And one of the reasons that I feel like that's relevant, just especially astrologically, is because, you know, September 3rd, we have Venus stationing direct after it's been retrograde. And then on the 15th, we have Mercury stationing direct after being retrograde, right? So we come to the end of the month and it's like, there's almost like just this more clarity. And there are a couple of other things happening at the end of the month that I think would be contributing to this. However, it's like going through 40 days and 40 nights of Venus being retrograde and then 3 weeks of Mercury retrograde. It's just like, there's been a lot with the personal planets that are in review. And so, yes, there are other planets that are in retrograde that are the outer planets, but this is like, it's a different vibe with the personal planets because it feels like more like it hits home. Like you can really relate to it and understand it in a different way. And so I feel like you are coming out of this experience or these experiences of months, really, like multiple months of this like all hitting and coming out on the other side of it with some clarity. Like, okay, here are the lessons that I've learned, and here's what's different about me as a person in my first house. Anything that transits your first house usually shifts you in some kind of way that is ever changing. You know, it's like, it's different. You're not the same person you were before. And so we come to the end of the month and there is this cycle ending that feels really prominent for you, and I'm really curious about hearing for those of you like how this actually feels, what that's like. It almost feels like a release too, in a way, like, okay, I can let that last path go, like I lived it, that's cool, that's awesome, let me take the lessons from this and yes, move on. But also, isn't that a relief to be done with that one? Now I'll start a new one. Interestingly enough, because I was talking about how this is the end of the major arcana, and we have the very beginning of the major arcana, which is the Fool card, in the challenge position. Now, lots of positive things to say about the Fool card, but when it is in a challenging position and it has to speak to challenges specifically, we're looking at being really naive, not really looking at the details as clearly as we need to look at them, and it would behoove us to slow things down, not try to move as quickly, and to actually consider, okay, wait, like, I think I'm trusting too much in the universe, or I'm seeing things for what I want them to be instead of like more pragmatically. I'm being naive, or just being foolish in general, or rushing headlong into something and not really taking any kind of consideration. So, I feel like that's however this applies to your life. I think that you guys are going to actually feel this. You'll have a felt sense of what that means. The spiritual advice being a card that most people don't associate with being like a really great card, which is the Three of Swords. And yes, it doesn't look great. However, I feel like in a spiritual advice position, this card is really speaking to how we can really glean the wisdom from disappointment and grief, right? Like things not going the way that we expected them to go, things not going the way that we wanted them to go, regrets that we have, whatever it is. Like the message that's coming through for you on like in a spiritual sense from your guides or angels or universe, whatever you want to call it, is basically saying like, hey, you know what, shit doesn't always go down the way that you want it to. Like it's maybe a little disappointing, that's okay. Just, are you learning from it? Like, are you gleaning the wisdom from this, or are you just gonna harbor this or let this go into something that ultimately doesn't really serve you? Not to say that you're a victimhood person, right? And not to be victim blaming, like none of that. Just more so like, are you owning what's yours? Are you looking at where you can learn from this, your disappointments or expectations falling short of what you wanted? And I think that that's important for us to look at. I think that I have a lot of opinions about how we have become people who don't feel comfortable discussing things that are in opposition to us, and being able to hold the space for that and talk about it, and even with ourselves, which is what this is speaking to. So anyhow, I know this is like a little bit maybe more serious of a reading, but this is your September reading. So I'm not sure what I'll have up on the screen in time, so it may not be the astrological highlights. It might be the bi-weekly videos that I have up here, so you can check that out. Those are usually about 5 minutes long. So yeah, thanks for being here. If this was insightful, please give the video a like. It does help me with the algorithm gods. Please subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of these videos on the horizon. And I will be putting in my description, because I am trying to help my father after he lost everything in the Lahaina fires. He is 83 years old and nearly blind and starting from scratch. So if you feel called to, open to sharing his GoFundMe with your friends and community, if they've been wanting to donate to someone and not wanting it to go to like a company and they don't know where it's going, then please feel free to share it. And if not, no worries, no hard feelings. I feel awkward enough saying this, but I just want to put it out there so that people, to get more eyes on it, to help my dad, to just help. I'm just trying to help. So anyway, thank you for your time. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.